Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're jumping right into part 7 of the 20-part tutorial Guide to Modern Network Routing Protocols. This comes to us from Virtualization Options LLC, a really fantastic technology research and advisory group out of Colorado. We're keeping our focus strictly on Chapter 7 today, so we're going to strip away all the command line syntax and zero in purely on the concepts you need to make smart, informed, and network decisions.
So, here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the core routing problem. 2, foundational concepts. 3, distance vector protocols. 4, a RIP deep dive. 5, EIGRP and dual. And finally 6, BGP, the Internet Protocol.
Section 1, the core routing problem, connecting the dots.
Okay, so it's a fundamental question every IT pro faces at some point, right? When a packet arrives at a router, how does it actually know where to go next? Now, if you only have a single router with one upstream connection, like a tiny stub network, static routing is totally fine. But the moment you start manually entering routes, you're introducing a massive vulnerability. If a link goes down or maybe a new subnet gets added, your static route just breaks. Dynamic routing, on the other hand, automates the whole thing. It exchanges reachability info, recalculates on the fly when a link fails, and scales up to thousands of routers without you having to lift a finger.
But you can't just pick any dynamic protocol out of a hat and hope for the best. Matching the right protocol to your environment isn't just some abstract network theory. It's absolutely crucial for avoiding massive operational outages. For example, if you deploy an older protocol like RIP on a 50-router enterprise network, a single link failure could literally mean waiting up to 3 whole minutes for the network to fix itself. And let's be honest, 3 minutes of total downtime in modern IT, that is an absolute eternity.
Section 2, Foundational Concepts, Vocabulary for IT Pros.
Before we start analyzing specific protocols to prevent those kinds of nightmare outages, let's lay down some ground rules. First up is the autonomous system, or AS for short. Think of an AS as a distinct, unified neighborhood on the internet, and it's all under the control of a single organization. Every AS gets a unique number from the Internet authorities, like Google is AS15169, Comcast is AS7922. This is a really important boundary to understand because interior routing protocols operate purely inside your AS, while exterior protocols are what you use to actually connect your AS to the rest of the world.
Next up is convergence. This is basically the process where all your routers communicate and reach a totally consistent, accurate view of the network after something changes, like a fiber cable getting cut. The real-world impact of convergence time is just huge. Protocols like OSPF and EIGRP, they take seconds, but during those 3 minutes it takes RIP to converge, your routers do not agree on the network map. That means your traffic is very likely just being dropped or sent straight into a black hole.
Then we have the metric. Look, if a router has 2 totally different paths to get to the exact same destination, how does it choose? Well, think of the metric as your car's GPS algorithm trying to decide if you want the fastest route, the shortest route, or maybe the route that avoids tolls. RIP simply counts the number of routers in the way, the hops. OSPF looks at link cost based on bandwidth. EIGRP uses a hybrid of bandwidth and delay, and BGP, it looks at complex business policies.
So looking at the internal routing landscape here, you can kind of see our main options. RIP is super simple but very limited. OSPF is highly scalable for standard enterprise environments. EIGRP provides incredible speed with its dual algorithm, and ISIS is the heavy lifter that large internet service providers tend to prefer.
Section 3, Distance Vector Protocols Explained.
When you look closely at protocols like RIP and EIGRP, you really have to wrap your head around the fact that these routers are effectively playing a massive game of network telephone. Because routers only know what their directly connected neighbors actually tell them, no single router has a complete map of the network. They only know which direction to send a packet and roughly how far away the destination is reported to be. It's literally routing by rumor.
Now, as you can probably guess, routing by rumor creates a huge risk of endless routing loops. We're talking about packets just bouncing back and forth between 2 confused routers forever. To stop that from happening, these protocols rely on some pretty clever prevention mechanisms. Split horizon simply means a router won't advertise a route back to the guy who just taught it to him. And route poisoning is when a router actively shouts out that a failed route now has an infinite metric. It instantly kills the rumor before it can spread.
Section 4, RIP deep dive, advantages and limitations.
So let's be real for a second and acknowledge RIP's pretty severe limitations. It broadcasts its entire routing table every 30 seconds. That is a massive waste of bandwidth.
Also, its maximum reach is literally 15 hops. If a destination is 16 hops away, RIP just throws its hands up and considers it totally unreachable. And because RIP's only metric is hop count, it's completely blind to bandwidth. To RIP, a screaming fast 10 gigabit fiber connection looks exactly the same as an ancient 56K dial-up modem as long as they are both one hop away. Crazy, right?
So you might be wondering, why even talk about it? Well, simplicity. RIP is unbelievably simple to configure, usually just 2 or 3 commands. That makes it perfect for quick lab environments, legacy industrial systems that physically can't run anything else, or just very small, highly contained branch networks where performance simply isn't an issue.
Section 5, EIGRP and the dual algorithm. But of course, when RIP just isn't enough, which honestly is most of the time, enterprise networks often turn to EIGRP. It's a much more sophisticated distance vector protocol. Instead of blindly shouting its entire table every 30 seconds like RIP does, EIGRP forms really precise, monitored relationships with its neighbors. It sends these tiny hello packets every 5 seconds on local networks just to check in. And when it does actually need to send an update, it uses a reliable transport protocol to guarantee that the update is received and acknowledged. Now, the real secret sauce of EIGRP is the dual algorithm. It categorizes routes into 2 different states. A passive route is actually a very good thing. It means the route is stable, and a primary path, which they call a successor, exists. If that primary path fails, Dual has already pre-calculated a backup path called a feasible successor. The route only goes active, which means the router has to actually pause and actively ask its neighbors for a new path if no backup exists at all. This incredible pre-computation is exactly why EIGRP convergence takes seconds, not minutes.
Okay, so we've got our internal networks locked down. We can route efficiently inside our own autonomous system. But how do we actually talk to the outside world?
Section 6, BGP, the Internet's routing protocol.
Enter BGP. This is the exterior gateway protocol that makes global IP reachability possible. Without it, the Internet as we know it would literally cease to function. BGP is an absolute monster of a protocol. Right now, it handles well over 900,000 IPv4 prefixes. And unlike our interior protocols, BGP is a path vector protocol. It doesn't just advertise the next hop. It advertises the complete AS path. That's the exact sequence of every single autonomous system the route has traversed. See, BGP isn't built for raw speed. When you're routing the entire internet, stability, loop detection, and super strict business policies matter way more than sub-second convergence.
Because it's so heavily policy-driven, BGP completely ignores basic metrics like hop count or bandwidth. Instead, it runs every single route through a really complex multi-step hierarchy of attributes to determine the absolute best path across the globe. It checks the AS path length, then the origin code, then the MED value to try and influence inbound traffic, and on and on. It's a highly tunable, granular process specifically designed to handle the immense complexity of global ISP peering.
So, thinking back on everything we've covered in Chapter 7 today, take a hard look at your own infrastructure. Ask yourself, are you relying on routing by rumor when you actually need link state precision? Could a 3-minute convergence delay cost your business its reputation? Are you using the right tool for your network's specific scale? Remember, picking the right protocol isn't just about making sure routers connect, it's about actual network survival. Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining the Explainer today, and we'll see you next time.